Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. This is what I heard all the time from my parents, from my teachers. And sometimes I even said it to people that I didn't want to have any confrontation with, if they were popping off at the mouth. It wasn't the first thought that I had, but I remember hearing this over and over again. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And I would say it over and over again. And I actually believed that. And I don't think our parents or the teachers meant the wrong thing, but now when I think about it, what if it was the words that were followed by the actions that caused us to pick up the sticks and the stones? So those words can actually hurt us. And as I was looking today in Proverbs 15, it hit me really hard. And again, I don't think it's because our parents thought that it was wrong. They were just trying to stop confrontation. But as I looked at that and I broke apart, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And then thinking about the fact that the words, most of the time, when something comes out your mouth, it causes your hands to follow suit. But then I started to track back, where do those words come from? Your words are an overflow of your heart. And how does it get into your heart? Through your eyes, through your ears, and through your senses. So if I fill up my heart with nastiness, the overflow of my heart is my words, and those words that are nasty then become nasty actions and cause me to pick up the sticks and stones and maybe harm someone that's in front of me. This was an epiphany today. It blew me away because as I looked at it, Proverbs 15 really opened some things for me because it starts off with responding with a gentle answer. But how can I respond with a gentle answer if my heart is filled up with nastiness? Proverbs 15 invites us to respond with a gentle answer, and then, like always, shows us how to accomplish something incredibly foreign to our nature. You see, my nature is not to respond with love when someone pops off at the mouth. But Proverbs 15 says, let's fill our heart up with goodness. Let's fill our heart up with love, with peace, with joy, and that will become an overflow of our mouth. When that heart overflows, it comes out our mouth, it'll create our actions, and those actions will be in line with what's in our heart. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We just started a 7-day challenge. Well, I just started it, and hopefully you guys will come with me on this journey. And the 7-day challenge is simply just doing what we're doing here on Inchstones, which is that we will read the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. That's all you have to commit to. It's about 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And then I want you to write out 3 things. 1, what verse hit your heart? What did it make you think about, like a specific time in your life that it made you think about that? And then what action can you add to it today to be able to maybe not go through that thing again? And if you don't have handy with you the word, well, the cool thing is I have this. I'm going to set this off to the side. But I have this, which is the Inchstones. I'm holding it up, the Vibe Within, and you can pick this book up on Amazon, and it has the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day, and then has a journal that asks you the question. So what hit your heart, what hit your mind, and then what skill. And then I've actually added my own notes. So like on this side, you can see that I wrote in this one, let's see, actually I'll go to Proverbs 15. So that's Proverbs 12, 14, 15. I need my glasses because I'm 50. So I love you, but I have to put my glasses on to be able to see it. So Proverbs 15 is all a gentle answer will turn away wrath. So it writes through, and then it's got the all the proverb there. So all you have to do is read that. You can read that. I believe in you. And then what you'll do is you'll turn the page, and what I wrote down, verse 18 and 21 stuck out to me, and it said, and this was my paraphrase, a calm mind creates precise action. Right? That's what that's the heart, or what verse hit my heart. So I wrote it down. In 18 and 21, those did. What did it make me think about? Right? A calm mind creates precise action. And where specifically in my life has that happened? And then what action can I add to it today? We're going to do that challenge over the next 7 days. And the reason why I say it is because I truly believe that in your personal life, professional life, spiritual life, or your financial life, you'll see a shift start to happen. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you do it for 7 days, you'll start to see shifts. You might see it in all 4, but I want to hear your feedback on it, because I really want to, I find that when we add action to these things, the theories that we have, it can really shift things, and you can start to see a difference that happens. So sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. This was something that I heard all the time as a kid, but that I realized today, you know what? What if it was the words that caused the person to pick up the sticks and stones that actually could hurt you? And then I started to think about it. What my mom used to say all the time is guard your heart and watch your mouth. She would actually say it, the flip side of it. She would say, watch your mouth, boy, and then guard your heart. And what I realized now that she's in heaven right now with Jesus, but what I realized, what she was saying is guard your heart, meaning that the only way into your heart is through your eyes, through your ears, and through your senses, right? So what I watch, what I listen to, and what I become aware of through my senses, that goes into my heart. When my heart gets filled up, the overflow of my heart is my mouth. So if you're constantly challenged with the words that you say, check the condition of your heart. It has nothing to do with your words. It has all to do with your heart. So if you're nasty to people and your words are coming out nasty, generally there's things in your heart. And so I just search your heart for it, and then guard your heart from that point forward and only fill it up with good things, right? So this was a huge epiphany. And I don't think our parents or our teachers were trying to do us wrong. They weren't trying to do us wrong by sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That I don't believe that. They were trying to, stop violence from happening, stop challenges from happening, diffuse situations. But when we look at it, let's look at truly how can we respond with a gentle answer. Well, Proverbs 15 gives it right away. So in verse 1, 4, and 7, a gentle answer pays great dividends. And it lists off all the things that you'll gain from a gentle answer. And I would invite you, dive into this a little bit, but it's wild. And some of the things that it talked about was joy, a cheerful heart, wealth, health. All these things come from a gentle answer. So how can we give a gentle answer when someone's being an idiot or popping off at the mouth? And this is, I tell you, for me, it's not the first thing that I think of. And I've lost my cool, and especially if you're in Carlsbad and you listen to the podcast and you've ever been to especially a couple years ago, when I was the coach for FNL, man, firing on the other coach or on the ref or whatever when I didn't get a call, I wasn't the greatest example in this. I mean, I'm failing a ton. But so a gentle answer pays great dividends, though. So I want to hit that one for you. And in verse 2, it's watch your mouth. It's the overflow of your heart. We talked about this. I tell you, if you're challenged with your words, my friend Will and I, we were challenged early on because we were dropping the F-bomb a lot, and we were using words that weren't the greatest towards women when we were kids. And I got myself in trouble because I was with a bunch of friends from beauty school when I went to beauty school, and we were driving, and we used to just use the B word, which is not the greatest word in the world, and you shouldn't use it. But as a kid, I thought it was cool. And we were driving, and we passed somebody, passed a girl, and my friends were like, did you see our friend? She had whatever shirt. And I said, oh, that bee over there. And I pointed and they were like, why are you calling her a bee? I was like, no, I'm just using it. But I was using that word so often because of what I was hearing. I was hearing music that was saying it all the time. I was watching things that said it all the time. So I just thought it was natural and normal. But these girls, Yolanda, if you're out there, you know exactly who I'm talking about, and Irma, you guys checked me. We were in the Monte Carlo in Santa Maria, and you checked me. You were like, don't be calling her a bee. And I was like, no, I'm not calling her a bee. It's just that was just an expression. And they were like, that's not a good expression. And I got checked. And when you get checked by a couple of ladies in a Monte Carlo in Santa Maria, it ain't a good thing. So watch your mouth, and it is an overflow of your heart. In verse 3, you know, they know, and he knows, so do the right thing. And as I read that in verse 3, have you ever done something and you know you were doing wrong, and you looked around, you were like, no one will ever know. And then you realized that people will know. And then you realized even further, like, you can't hide from God. You can't like cover your head, your whole body's out, and you think, if I can't see you, you can't see me. God sees everything. People sense it. You know too, in your own heart. So just be conscious of that. This one was a big one because it was in verse 5, 9, 10, 12, 24, and 32. If you haven't joined our challenge, I'm going to be doing some live stuff on Instagram. But we're going to be doing that challenge here too. So I invite you to be with us as often as possible, because the thing that I get from it is I want to see the shift happen for you. And then I want your stories, because then I could tell your stories as you go along. So discipline shows prudence. Those three words, discipline shows prudence. Discipline is loaded, a loaded word, and prudence is a loaded word. I never used to use it we don't use it in today's context. You don't walk around and be like, I want to express prudence. But here it goes. Doing right shows the thought of the future. Doing right shows thought of the future. When you do the right thing for the right reason, that's discipline, right? Because doing the right thing for the right reason all the time, it takes discipline to be able to do that. And so, but doing right shows thought of the future. When you take thought of the future, right? When you have discipline, it shows prudence. When you have discipline, it shows thought of the future. I was just reading The Millionaire Next Door, and if you haven't read that book, I would definitely suggest. I'm reading it for the second or third time. I haven't applied every single principle in it, but I tell you, it will change. Like, especially if you're in, whatever business you're in, wherever you're at in your relationships, read The Millionaire Next Door. It's unbelievable to see the content of this book. In verse 6, 9, 19, 21, doing right is not only right, but profitable. And this was a big thing, because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, well, doing the right thing, yeah, it makes my heart feel good, but I got to fill my pockets. Well, I can tell you this, and this was principle based, and this is 3,000 years ago, in verse 6, verse 9, and verse 19, and verse 21. I want to read you verse 19 because I circled it. So verse 19, the way of the sluggard is blocked with thorns, but the path of the upright is a highway. Doing right is not only right, but it's profitable. And so make sure that you understand that you lock into that as much as humanly possible. In verse 8 and 29, praying before you speak will prove to be valuable, right? If you stop for a second for you to pray, and I don't care who you pray to, but if you stop and you pray before you say anything, I tell you, it changes things. If you stop to pray before you act, it will change things. It'll prove to be valuable, and that's in verse 8 and 29. In verse 11, 13, 14, and 15, your heart is at the center of it all, and from it comes life. That is why God is so focused on it and concerned with it. See, whatever goes into your heart can only get there through your eyes, through your ears, and through what you become aware of through your senses. And what it'll bring when your heart is filled, if you want your heart to be filled with happiness, discernment, health, wealth, cheerfulness, and so many other things, then you'll fill your heart with wisdom. You'll fill your heart with the right thing. And what is the right thing? It's just spending time with God, and he'll let you know exactly what the right thing is at that time. In verse 16 and 17, a little with God is far more valuable than great wealth with turmoil. I think that speaks volumes. There's so many times where we'll look for the advancement, but we're not doing the right thing. Do the right thing, and when you pile the right thing on top of the right thing on top of the right thing, it's inevitable that it will work. But what I would say is that what I've learned over my years is a small amount with God is so much better than a ton with a bunch of turmoil around it. In verse 18 and 28, patience starts with the heart, and your heart is filled up with what you see, what you hear, and what you become aware of through your senses. So if you want patience, if you want to have patience, first of all, when you hear something, someone responds to you, pops off at the mouth, and you want to give a gentle answer, you don't want to pick up those sticks and stones. What you'll find is that it starts with your heart. But we got to guard it first, and we got to fill it up with the good things. In verse 20, wisdom honors your parents. So when you have wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge, and the only place where you can get wisdom is from the fear of God or the respect of God, meaning that you spend time with him, then that will honor your parents. No matter how your parents treated you, we are commanded to honor our parents. Even if they did the wrong thing, honor them by continuing on. And I tell you, when you honor your parents, your business will grow, your relationships will grow, all personally, professionally, spiritually, financially, you'll see increase in that. In verse 22 is seek wise counsel. This is probably one of the most valuable things that you can do. And it's probably one of the hardest things to do because a lot of times we want to be right, but just seek wise counsel. Wise counsel, those people have wisdom, and wisdom is the right use of knowledge. And the beginning of all wisdom is the fear of God. So when they're fearing and respecting God, they spend time, they're going to have wisdom. And I would spend time with people who give you wise counsel. In verse 23, 26, and 31, speaking life is always a good thing to do. So speaking life is like this: use someone's name, and then you tell them specifically what they did that was awesome, and do it as publicly as possible. You could do it in private too, but I would tell you speaking life will change things in a relationship. We built a multi-million-dollar business based off of speaking life every single week. On Tuesdays, we would have every single person in our company. And at the height, we had 85 people in our company, and they all spoke life to each other. They had 15 seconds to say someone's name, say something great, what they did great. It changes the culture. But speaking life is always a good thing to do, and it'll always pay dividends, I promise you. In verse 25, pride comes before the fall and generally has collateral damage. So when your pride comes in, generally pride comes because ego came first. So ego shows up to the party, then he brings his friend pride, and the two of those two get together. And when that happens, it not only injures you, but it injures all the people around you too. So just be conscious of this, right? And if we want to respond with a gentle answer, then we'll be conscious of where our ego is. And the way that you squelch an ego is just by realizing that you're not in control and that somebody else is smarter than you. Put yourself around people who will constantly speak life to you and speak truth to you, and do it through love, which would be amazing. So in verse 27, generosity comes from the heart and also fills it up. Watch this, it's a circle. So generosity comes from the heart. So if you fill yourself up with great things in your heart, you'll be generous to people. And then when you're generous to people, it'll actually fill up your heart. So it's a round robin, right? And so I would make sure that you look at that. And whenever you look at people who are generous, their heart has the tendency to be continually filled up. And when it's filled up with joy, with love, with peace, and it constantly is pushing out to other people and speaking life to people, they have the tendency to be generous, and that generosity will fill up their heart. And then that heart will overflow, and it'll come out through their words, and their words become actions. And then when you'll see it, things will start to prosper, and their path will become a highway. It won't be thorny like it talked about earlier. In verse 30, I want to read verse 30 to you because this was really important. In verse 30, light in a messenger's eyes brings joy to the heart, and good news gives health to the bones. Light in a messenger's eyes. The eyes are a window to the soul. And if there's light in your eyes, it means that your soul is filled up with light, and there's only one source of light. It brings joy to your heart. And if your heart is filled up with joy and it's filled up with light, then it'll overflow out your mouth, and you'll speak that light and life to every single person. And then your actions will be in line with that. And then good news gives health to the bones. It means that you not only need to speak it, but you also need to hear it. You need to hear about the great things that you're doing. You need to be encouraged about the amazing things that are happening. When you're at your work, if your boss stopped for 5 minutes and said, I just want to tell you all the things that I noticed last week, and even if it was 3 things that they noticed, you did this task and it was absolutely phenomenal. You dealt with this client and it was absolutely phenomenal. You would be on cloud 9. You need to hear encouragement every single day. I was very fortunate because my best friend in the world, his name was Pops. And Pops would encourage me every day. He would say, boy, you're the greatest, so act accordingly. But then he would give me specifics. Every single one of us is lacking encouragement. And that's the reason why most of the time our ego gets involved. And when our ego gets involved, then pride gets involved, and then there's collateral damage. And when most of the time when pride is there, it just comes from the insecurity. So that insecurity causes us to have some ego, and that ego brings the pride, and then the collateral damage happens. But where we can gain security is by being encouraged by the people that are around us that absolutely love us. So make sure that you're not only encouraging people, but you're also being encouraged yourself, meaning you're putting yourself around wise counsel. As we finish up today is verse 33 is respect God, and your humility in this will bring honor. If you want honor in your life, in your personal, professional, spiritual, or financial life, just respect God. Because when you respect God, you'll realize that you're not that big, that he's in control. And when he's in control, then you'll be humble. And when you're humble, that'll bring you honor. See, as a kid, when someone would pop off at the mouth, like I told you earlier, my first thought wasn't to speak life calmly to them. Although after reading Proverbs 15, I understand it's a process that takes work to give a gentle answer. To respond with a gentle answer in love takes work. This is a simple blueprint, although it's not easy. Sticks and stones now hits different when we realize that the words we say can cause you to use those sticks and stones. If your words are an overflow of your heart, and the only way into your heart is through your eyes, through your ears, or through what you become aware of through your senses, it's probably best to fill ourselves up with as much good as we can. So my question to every single one of you is, where this week can you adjust your consumption so it's only the good things that are going into your heart? I want to thank you so much for joining us. Join us on this 7-day challenge that we're doing. That we're going through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day. You can pick up the Inch Stones, the Vibe Within. You can follow along with us. It's on Amazon. The link is in the bio. If not, if you don't pick up the book, it's okay. Grab a journal, grab the word, and then just read the corresponding proverb, corresponding day. Ask yourself, which verse hit my heart? What did it make me think of specifically? A time in my life that it made me think of, and then what action can I add to it today? That 15-minute routine in the morning, I believe, will start to shift things in your personal, your professional, your spiritual, and your financial life, if not all of them together. So thank you so much for tuning in. Share it with a friend. The Vibe Room is coming on November 5th, and that is a live version of the podcast, and it's coming here to Carlsbad. So come and check us out. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over